Howdy. So, in today's sermon, we're looking at Matthew 13, 1 through 23. Now, in this passage, Jesus is talking about the parable of the sower. Now, the parable of the sower, in many ways, it seems straightforward when Jesus explains what each part means. Oftentimes, when the Word of God is planted in someone who is hard hearted toward it and Satan pulls that out, it's like planting it along the roadside. Or if someone gets excited at the very beginning but doesn't actually grow in their faith and instead there are no roots, then it's like if it had just grown on the rocky soil. Or even if it had grown among the thorns and all the things that are around in this world can end up distracting us and choking out that faith. But if we foster that faith and listen to the Spirit and grow in so many ways, then it's as if we're on good soil, and then that faith ends up changing who we are and ends up creating abundantly within our lives. Now, the thing is that all that is still part and parcel of this parable, but in the midst of it, we also see Jesus talking about how he is speaking in parables in order to hide the truth from many people around them. Now, you might be wondering, why is it so important for Jesus to be hiding truth when he's meant to go out and proclaim it to others? But what we see is that the people who are following Jesus, many of them are really just looking for someone to provide what they've been hoping for, whether it's someone who's more of a military leader or someone to provide food for them because they feel that they're in need, or even somebody who just has some nice things to say, a rabbi to make them feel good. The thing is that when Jesus is speaking, he's expecting to transform lives, to change people, to change things. But oftentimes we as people don't want to be changed. We want to push back on the things that challenge us, on any ideas that end up expecting us to become someone other than who we've been. And that's the thing, is that Jesus knows that we're going to push against him, that we're going to push against the message that he has for us. So by utilizing parables that have imagery that will stick in our minds and basically hold on to us over time, then slowly those stories, those pictures end up working their way inside of our hearts, inside of our minds, inside of our souls. And so even though we ourselves might push back on other people's ideas, the imagery coming from God ends up sticking with us. And that's the thing that Jesus showed us whenever he left this earth and left us with the Spirit, the Comforter, is that while people could push out Jesus and hold him at bay because he's human, at the same time the Spirit comes within us and changes us and molds us from the inside out. And that's the thing that Christ has done, is to send that to us, to send the Spirit to us to transform us from the inside out. And so with today's gospel, we're looking at the idea that not only is Jesus saying that the way that we receive the word will determine how it is that it ends up resulting, whether or not it grows and flourishes, but also the fact that Jesus has to use imagery and pictures and stories in order to get his point across, because we oftentimes want to push him away and not let him change us. So the question is, how can we be more mindful of allowing the Spirit to work from within us so that Christ can do the work within us that is needed?